Ulonga tabati yada tó yẹ kó máa da ifá. Inú tó yẹ kó jẹun lọ fi bí pa. Ọba tálá, ọba takuntakun. Ṣàngó, Èṣù, Ògún, Ọya, Ọ̀ṣun. Kí ni ṣẹ̀ṣe tán ṣe nílé yìí o? Ó jẹ́ lọ jára rẹ̀.
Alafia, peace and blessings, family. Welcome to another episode of the African Spirituality Experience. I am your host, Arisha Bami, and tonight I'm flying solo tonight, tribe. I got a dope show to put together for y'all though. Flying solo for first time in a long time, man. I can't remember the last time I flew solo, but the ancestors told me that I don't really have much of a choice to not be flying solo. So it's gonna be a lot more of these solo shows to really just be obedient first and foremost, but also because I feel like they've challenged me to kind of bring the channel and the content and information to a whole nother level. So with that, I want to give a shout out to the entire tribe. Shout out to all the new subscribers. Shout out to the new Patreon members. Shout out to the new channel members. Shout out to everybody who's been showing love and support. Shout out to everybody for the emails, the DMs, just reaching out and showing love. Shout out to the people in the comments. I don't know who that was, but I meant to screenshot it. I hope you're watching this live. I'm not sure what the tribe member's name was, but somebody was popping off talking crazy in the comments earlier. And it was funny because before I could get to them, as soon as I logged on to respond back, somebody had already pretty much got them together for me. So I appreciate you for being loyal and for riding with the tribe and just standing up for what we believe in and what we are, who we are and what we do. So with that, it's a lot going on, family. It's a whole lot. And before I get deep into it, I'm gonna definitely switch things up a little bit and open up with a prayer to the mothers, because for those who follow the Ifa Sheshe tradition, today is Ojo Ajay Day. Today we honor the mothers. We venerate the mothers. We give praise to the Ajay. So I'm gonna definitely open up with a prayer to the mothers, especially where we are right now in the world. So it's something that I feel like is definitely very beneficial for us to honor and revere the mothers, and that feminine energy to bring this whole complete balance, to where we are now. So with that, family, before I get into that though, there's a few tribe members who have a lot of things going on now that's really heavy. And I know we all have a lot going on heavy, especially with all the things that's going on in the world. But I got several tribe members that I want to ask the collective tribe to give some prayers and some prayers up, and I personally want to send a shout out to I lost a family member this week as well. So auntie transition. So I want to give her, Ibatanu and a raise in power and elevate her, as well as, we got several tribe members who are dealing with some heavy challenges right now, but we're going to get through this thing all together collectively. We're going to make it do what it do and make it be what it be. So I appreciate all y'all for rocking with me. I wanted to get some videos up here to share. I got a few of them up here, but I wasn't able to get all the ones I wanted to, because it's my first time kind of doing it this way live with the presentation format. But I was able to get a few of them up here so I can kind of go through what I want to share with y'all. And prior to me doing that, though, I do want to open up with a prayer to the mothers. And matter of fact, speaking of the mothers, shout out to OJ Yemi. She'll be back in this week. We got some of our distinguished elders coming back this week, later on in the week. We got Unam coming through later in the week. We got Baba Kepra Patai coming on later in the week. So we got a heavy week for y'all, family. We got a big time guest week, as well as I'll be sharing a lot of other content as well in regards to what we're dealing with now. But with that, I give praise and thanks to everybody for coming through tonight. And I want to share this prayer for the mothers before we get started tonight. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and share this, and then we'll get this party started. This prayer is for the divine mothers. We come together on this evening of the full moon, under the shadow of the night, when the divine femininity is at its apex, embodied in Yeye Oshun. The reality of all that be, let us share these blessings as we sit united in this circle of love. The divine femininity of three, the triple goddess, the maiden, the mother, the grandmother, she be. We appeal to Oya Yansa, the mother of nine, as she cleanses us of negativity, while swirling her skirt, tail bringing blessings and destroying all debris. She blessed us by bringing the Iyami Osaranga to earth in the holy Odu of Osameji. We are in the sacred temperance of the primordial waters of life. Yeye Imoja, Yemaya, Iya, Nala, the great mothers uphold us in our world. Our petitions we offer to her and to them as they become one, resounding under prayer on high. Round as the moon that encircles us, let our bonds be strong and unending, and as radiant as the moon's silvery light. Yeye Oshun, Yeye O. It is you we come because of you, the great God in heaven, Olumare, the mother God, father God, commissioned as the embodiment of the divine feminine energy. You who are filled with the love and the passion, as well as compassion, hold us near to your bosom forever and ever and ever. Forever, ever, ever, ever. Ashe, 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 you. Shout out to Iya Oloye Chief Fatumisi Fagbemi Leki from the book. That was from the book Yami Osaranga, Divine Femininity. So powerful book, family. So I want to share that prayer, man, for the mothers, because the owls have been present. Actually received another message about the owls tonight. So I definitely feel like it's a divine alignment the way everything is unfolding. So with that, yeah, man, I got a lot to get into with y'all, man. A lot to get into. And picking right up where we left off with the prayer. I'm not sure if everybody's been paying attention to all the different things that's been going on in the world, but it's a lot of different things going on in the world right now, from Mother Nature to all these systems collapsing, to these governments collapsing, to, you know, it's a lot, man, to the cartel thing that just took place, I think, yesterday. So it's a whole lot going on. And for me, I don't see any of it as being coincidental. I feel like it's all kind of like an evolution and, like, you know, like a maceration process. Like, it's a lot of things that has to happen in order for us to get to this new world, in order for us to ascend to this fifth dimension of ascension. And I see it happening, you know, and it's happening all over the globe, man. So, you know, with that, I want to kind of really get into sharing a little bit with y'all some of the different things that I've seen, because for one, I'm not sure how many people in the tribe saw that volcano that erupted in Hawaii, but I'm gonna share some footage from that, because we've spoken about Mother Earth and how she's fighting back. You know, we've spoken about the waters, we've spoken about the storms, the earthquakes, the tornadoes, the volcanoes, you name it. And there's a lot going on. So we're seeing this happen right before our very eyes. So I believe this volcano took place on, I want to say it was like the 15th of September. I have to look at my notes, but I think it was the 15th of September. but yeah, I'm gonna share this little clip with y'all real quick, family, so y'all can check it out. So that volcano right there, which was a very powerful eruption, man, that happened on February 15th at about 11:38 p.m. And that particular volcano is in Hawaii. I believe the name of it is Halima Umau. And I think it's called the Kaluuya volcano in Hawaii. And it's been erupting a lot lately. They say that it's been erupting episodically, you know, and means it stops. When it stops, you know, erupting, it's breathing. And then it'll kind of explode again, and then it's like, you know, it's inhaling and exhaling, you know, as the lava, I think, goes out, you know what I mean, and it stops, then it's kind of inhaling, but as it's pushing this out, it's exhaling. But that's literally, you know, where I see the whole planet, you know, going through this heat, you know, going through you know, kind of like that transformation, like the coal being stripped away from the diamond. And it's a very powerful, you know, experience that I'm seeing the planet herself is reacting and responding to a lot of things that's happening inside of her, you know what I mean, and on top of her. Like, a lot of the stuff is like it's simultaneous. And so I was looking at that from the ancestral lens, kind of like through the lenses of my aunt, you know, in the Kemetic cosmology, volcanic eruptions, you know, it's not chaos, it's actually correction. And so to me, I kind of respectfully kind of correlate that to the female, you know, when she's going through her menstrual cycle, you know, she's pushing out the old to make way for the new. And like we've been saying on the show for a while, the planet is doing the same thing, you know, it's going through a correction. You know, Mother Earth is purging, you know, what no longer serves her. And so now we're seeing Mother Nature kind of put into effect the balance of the land, just like we're seeing the elevation of the vibrational frequencies of people's consciousness. We had a lot of conversations about how people are tapping into a whole nother level of their super cells, you know, kind of like that series on Netflix, which we spoke about. So it's a lot of things that's happening. And even the people in indigenous Hawaii, like, they know what it is, because, you know, even though they're not of the same particular spiritual, you know, I feel like paths that we are, but they still have a long history of practicing Iwa Pele and having, you know, good and balanced character. And so I feel like that's not no coincidence, especially when you talk about the power of Shango. And for those of y'all who practice the Isheshe tradition, you may know that the who is said to be the father of Shango is a Ganju. That's the Orisha of the volcanoes. And I don't know how many people are very familiar with the Ganju, but very, 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 very powerful deity. And in his characteristics or attributes, the volcano is like one of his aspects of nature that he's, you know, tied to. So this is a very powerful time that we're living through, family, very powerful time. And so with that, we're seeing Mother Earth pretty much stand up and let everybody know what it is, what's popping. Like, hey, it's time for a change. We see everything happening with the government. We see all these files. I know everybody tired of the files, but there's a lot of things that's being revealed right now that if we don't see the collapse or the removal of certain people, certain energies that's been in positions of so-called power, then we already know, this is definitely the final hour, like for real, because there's no way that the United States itself is going to be able to flourish and continue to go in this way, and then the planet herself, because there's so many different dynamics that's playing into this. Because I don't know if y'all seen the the cancer vaccine, where I think Russia and China are trying to push this cancer vaccine out there. Now I'm all for healing. I'm all for us being able to defeat different types of dis-ease, right? But why wouldn't we be able to get that same support from the work of a Dr. Sebi? Because I mean, he already proved that he was able to cure HIV, cure herpes, cure cancer. He's been able to cure a whole lot of different diseases already naturally, holistically, organically. So I'm not opposed to what Putin and China got going on as far as that vaccine, but I got to kind of raise my eyebrow, because we know what that's taking place over here when it comes to those things. So it's like, if we can do it naturally and organically with nature, why would we not want to do it that way versus going into going back to vaccines, which is something that I haven't done my research on that, so I can't really speak to it too much in depth. But I definitely will do more due diligence on the research with that, just to see how credible it is. Because at the end of the day, I feel like everybody's not necessarily going to have your best interests. I feel like a lot of times you'll have people who will have interest in what they can get or benefit from us or from you, you know what I'm saying, versus actually being able to be an asset to you to help you to benefit. So that's one of the things that, I'm hoping that they're doing the right thing, and I'm hoping it's something that's legitimately for, the population of humanity to be able to beat this disease, because it's definitely been something that, I feel like all of us has probably dealt with, with our families. So there's definitely a lot to take in, family, a whole lot, to take in. And then I'm pretty sure that y'all seen some of the stuff that's going on over there in Mexico, where they assassinated the leader of the cartel over there. I think it's Menchio, and they wilding over there in Mexico. And so if you got loved ones over there, man, say your prayers up for them, try to get in touch with them, make sure that they straight, make sure they're safe, because there's a lot going on. So I'm gonna share a little bit of a clip that I saw from what's going on in Mexico earlier too. Yeah, so it's definitely it's a lot, man. It's a lot. And it's nuts, because I remember it's probably about 8 to 10 years ago now. I was over in Mexico, and I remember, when I came in, one of the times I came in on a boat, on a cruise, and they was like, yo, don't go out into, don't leave the area from the cruise line, from where, the vacationers and the tourists are supposed to be. Like, don't go out there with the population, because it's too dangerous. But I was like, man, I'm finna go out here and chill. So we rented some scooters. We was riding around that whole little area, man, and it was cool. We ain't had no issues. We ain't had no smoke. They showed love. I mean, it was just like being in a city here in the States, as far as my experience was. I don't feel like they're not really beefing with us like that, the melanated people, because I feel like they don't have that same, as far as my personal experience, I didn't like take it as they was looking at us as somebody who was less than or looking down upon, or, you know what I mean, having that arrogance about them. I didn't pick up none of that. It was all love. Like, some of them didn't even speak English, but it was like we were still able to communicate just by vibing, you know what I'm saying, just by the energy exchange. So it was dope for me. But it's like all this is tied into what we're seeing with this parasitical political climate that's taking place. And this even goes back to now, if you want to think about the whole thing with Venezuela. I'm not sure how many people have seen or heard any of the reports what's going on with that, but they've already strong-armed and put in their people that, they want to have in position of power over there. But they've also made it a point to pretty much, I feel like, suffocate or try to suffocate Cuba, you know what I'm saying, in the process of that, like by trying to like literally sucked the life out of Cuba, because Cuba was, you know, they were in alignment with Venezuela. I think Venezuela was actually like producing or like giving a lot of, you know, they were getting a lot of their oil and, you know, a lot of their gas and fuel and things of that nature from them. So it's like once they were able to get that capture, it's like they pretty much put Cuba in a chokehold, pretty much is what it looks like. And it's like they're struggling over there. So it's like there's a lot of things going on, man. And you know, I want the tribe to really, really be cognizant of what's going on, because they got a lot of these concentration camps that they're building, and they're not building them for no reason. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people are getting comfortable looking at it like, oh, that's just for the immigrants, that's just for the people who's here illegally and all that. But don't get it twisted. Like if they murking their own people, or at least the people who look like them in the streets in broad daylight and ain't nothing happening, I feel like they really could try that with anybody. So with that, you know, this is a whole nother conversation that we'll have to talk off air, you know what I mean? And well, not off air, but definitely in a different type of environment to get a lot more deeper into it, because it's a lot to think about, family. So I definitely want to make sure that everybody's, you know, moving with your head on the swivel, you're being diligent, and just keeping focused on food, clothing, shelter, and protection. Because at the end of the day, we already see these types of people, they don't ask for things, they just go in and take things if, you know, you're not in the position to protect what is yours. And so that's where we have to be, you know, on another level in regards to not only with all of our assets physically, but more so, I feel like even spiritually, because the more we're aligned and the more we're in tune with nature and with spirit, with spirituality and with the mother, you know, with Mother Earth and the planet, I feel like the more we activate and elevate our power, the more we activate and elevate our ashe, the more we activate and elevate our frequency. And by us doing that, we become more in alignment to where something might look like it's impossible, but I know for damn sure miracles do happen and things, anything is possible. And for any of y'all who are familiar with the story of 1804 and the Haitian Revolution, you know, looking at it on paper, you would think that they would have got annihilated. You talk about dealing with armies, with guns, with cannons, with knives, with all kind of weaponry, with thousands upon thousands, you know, more troops in their brigades or in their cavalries, right? But nah, it didn't go down like that, because they ran up on some people who were very powerful, who were very spiritual, and who was connected with nature, to the point where the kickoff to the revolution started in the swamp. You know what I mean? They were in the swamp putting together the strategy, in the swamp with the gators, with the snakes, with, you know what I'm saying? Like with nature, and nothing happened. But yet they were still able to get together, put that same, you know, plan of action, that one plan of action, and all be on the same accord. And they were the first, you know, and the only slavery enslaved, I should say country that was able to break free, you know, and to create their own independence. So we've seen this happen before. So it's like right now, this is where we're at now. And this, to me, I feel like it's not even a black or white thing. This is a 99% versus the 1% thing, because it's the 1%. They don't give a damn about none of that other stuff. That's all stuff that's used to keep us, you know what I'm saying, disorganized, and keep us not paying attention to what's really popping and what's really going on. But it's a lot at stake right now, family. Kiki said no different than what the good. Yeah, that's facts. That's big facts. And that's kind of like why I feel like ancestors on me to get this doggone podcast. I actually was trying to do it earlier, but some things kind of slowed me down from making it happen. But yeah, they pretty much charged me to having an everyday ashe type show going on. And it's funny because it really was supposed to start last week, but things just, you know, didn't go in alignment the way I anticipated it. So this week, they was like, yeah, you're not getting out of that. So you might as well buckle up, Buttercup. It's time to get this thing cracking. Wow. And see, I didn't even hear about that. That's crazy. Kiki said another young man was found hung in Georgia today. And of course, it's labeled as a suicide. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, we already know what it is. And matter of fact, I can't remember who it was, but somebody sent me something earlier today, and it was about a takeover revolt that happened. I want to say it was in the Carolinas back in like the late 1800s or early 1900s, if I'm not mistaken. I'm gonna have to go back and see if I can find that message to bring that information to the tribe and share some of that too, because there's a lot of different times that we've seen, you know, our people under attack in this corporation. I'm not sure how many of the tribe are y'all familiar with the MOVE movement, but the MOVE movement with Phil Africa up there in Philly, you know, back in like 1986, they bombed a neighborhood on American soil of American citizens. They bombed them from the sky, like literally, you know what I'm saying? And like was shooting them up, and it's crazy. And this just happened in like 86, the MOVE movement up there in Philly. So, you know, there's a ton of these types of atrocities that we've seen, you know, over the past 400, 500, 600 years, you know, in this country, this corporation. But you know, I see it as it's small things to a giant, and I mean that literally. It really is small things to a giant. Because when you look at who and what we are as a people, nothing can touch us. And I say that proudly, and I say that passionately, but I say that emphatically. Like, we've been here, and we ain't going nowhere. We've been here for millions upon millions of years. Some people say thousands, but nah, I beg to differ. It's been millions, you know. And it's like, I wish I would have been able to share that. But there's a clip that I have from Nigeria when we was in the Oni's palace, and it was powerful because we were able to look at all the different artifacts, you know, in the palace that came all the way down from the very first dynasty. I'm talking about from the times of Oduduwa. And they had this shrine. It was so dope, but they had like a shrine for a lot of the different deities, but they actually had one for all the Onis too, from the very first Oni all the way down from Oduduwa all the way to the current Oni now in Ile Ife. And they were talking about the deluge that's, you know, some of the deluges that's hit the planet. And you know that's really happened. You know, we've heard about it, and a lot of people have seen it and heard about it in the Bible, but that is really some historical records and accounts that we have access to, that we have receipts for. You know, that's unbroken, that's untainted. You know, and I've seen this with my own eyes. I meant to put that clip in here too. I had to share it later on in the week with y'all, but it's powerful because I do have something that I wanted to share in regards to Ogun as well, because today is Ogun Day. You know, in regards to the Oshe calendar with the Isheshe tradition. Just a side note. Yeah, I agree with that, Walter. Let me see. You said just a side note, the real 1% basically play hands off unless, yeah, that's facts. They hide, you know, in the back, and they send their foot soldiers, and, you know, they send their peasants out there to do the dirty work for them while they sit back and, you know, collect. But like I said, all that's coming to a wrap though, because at the end of the day, the planet herself is really, you know what I'm saying, she's activated, and she's making a shift happen, literally. So it's like, we were talking about this on another show recently, and it was like how they building bunkers and all this stuff to try to go underground. Okay, yeah, you can go underground, but you know, that can be touched too. You're talking about the mother, and that's specifically why I wanted to open up with that volcano. Because yeah, okay, you can build bunkers however many, you know, feet, miles, stories, meters, kilometers under the ground, what have you. But what can you do to stop that hot lava if that just decides to explode on you? I want to know, because I don't know. You know, I know they got some technology from some recovered crafts and all that, but I don't really see y'all being able to stop the mother though. I don't see that happening. And you know, rest in power, rising power to the young king that they found in Georgia. I didn't know nothing about that. It's terrible. Uh, but yeah, we got to fight them with spirit, and that's what we're gonna do. We've been doing it, and we're gonna continue to do it, and that's facts. And the ancestors are definitely here, you know, making that happen for sure. And you know, it's just a lot. And then you look at the whole debauchery with this foolishness going on with these trials, and all these different things going on with the Senate, and with the House, and your president and all that other foolishness. And it's a lot. And I've never really been a person who was into politics like that, but based upon the climate and all the different things that's going on, it's something that spirit led me like, yo, you need to get, you know, educated on this, because it makes a difference. And especially with being able to be blessed with having the ability to speak to the people with, you know, the channel through Ashe. They're like, yo, you need to talk about these things too, because it's a lot of stuff that a lot of us might not be privy to, because like myself, me personally, I don't watch the news. I don't pay attention to a lot of that, because I feel like all it is programming. It's seductive programming, where they're programming our subconscious mind with the, you know what I'm saying, the cavities and the decay, and, you know, all the different bullshit that we see, you know, on the news. Like, a lot of it's all negative. It's parasitical, and it's programming. So it's like, I don't really pay attention to it. But like I said, spirit and ancestors was like, nah, you need to pay attention to it, because there's different things that you need to share, you know, with the tribe, because we all need to be aware of these things. And normally I would rely on getting my information from family members and friends who are tapped in to the media outlets. But now they're like, no, you need to be doing your own research, so you can kind of keep your own self abreast at what's going on, but also share, you know, with the tribe, and to the best of your ability to let all of us know what's going on, so we can all be prepared. Because shout out to Dr. Phil Valentine. He I saw not too long ago, I was listening to some of his presentations, and he was dropping some knowledge, man. Like, and I'm definitely looking to get him back on here as soon as possible as well, because he was dropping some knowledge about what's going on. And we have a lot that we have to take action on, and we have to get ourselves prepared for within the next 3 years, the next 3 to 4 years between now and 2030. It's going to be a lot of stuff happening, and we already see it, like the writing's on the wall. So it's like we got to prepare ourselves to make sure that we can sustain ourselves when these major things take place, and they're already happening. The crafts are being seen more often. I know that they do have the ability to create crafts. I know some of them are, they're from here. They are reverse engineered, things of that nature. I just saw, a matter of fact, earlier today, I think there was some sort of big, massive, like pyramidal or like circular structure found out in Area 51 that was filmed, where some sort of structure just kind of was filmed, where just like, I don't know if it's supposed to be alien. I don't know if it's like 100% real. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like, if it's something that might have landed there, but I definitely want to look into that and get a little bit more due diligence and research on that as well, because there's a lot going on. There's definitely a lot of crafts. I feel like I've seen several over the last 3 or 4 weeks, but it's like I was driving, so I wasn't able to capture the footage of them, and take pictures and video of them. But I could tell the way the planes fly and like the way the lights are on the planes. If you've seen a craft before, you know a craft when you see one, if you've seen them before, because they definitely move in a whole nother trajectory. They move in a whole nother lane, a whole nother light, especially with the speed and just the ability of how and what they can do in the air. Like, you can tell if you see one that's like, if you see one for real, you see one, you know that you saw one, because they just don't move like anything that we have here. And speaking of which, I'm gonna share this too, because this is something else that I saw, over the last few days with doing the research for this show. There's a lot of sightings, and y'all share in the comments what you think about this one, if you think this one is real or if you think it's them. But I'm gonna share this one real quick too and get y'all opinion on this, family. And it's gonna just disappear like in a matter of seconds. And just like that, gone. So, y'all share your thoughts with me. What you think about that one? If you thought it was real, or if you thought it was, something from here. But I'm gonna tell you like this: I won't say emphatically that I'm willing to bet that it's real, but if I had to bet, I'm gonna say I believe that one was real, because I've seen craft similar to that one come into that. I mean, I've actually recorded one. I shared one on the channel where it actually came into the atmosphere, and I caught it on film and video. But I've seen some that I didn't catch on video that have actually came in and like came into the atmosphere, and it was just sitting there, kind of like that one, but it was blinking, and it was just blinking, and it wasn't moving a whole lot, but it was just blinking. And then all of a sudden, that bad boy just stopped blinking, and then it blinked real bright a few more times, and then it just like I don't know what the hell you call that, but it just like it stopped blinking and it just disappeared. Like wherever it came from, it went right back there. So I feel like some of them, they're interdimensional. Some of them are extra dimensional. Some of them are multi-dimensional. So they have a lot of different capabilities with the technology. They're light years, thousands of years ahead of where we are right now with the technology. So they can do a lot of different things. But even in that one, that clip, I don't know if y'all saw it towards the end, like it went one way and then like it kind of just went right back the other way without even, I mean, it was effortless, like how it did that. You said man-made had a tail, Walter? Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look at it again and do some research. But there's something that I've seen. Trying to think if any of the ones I've seen in person had a tail. I'm not sure. But it looked real to me though, because the one that I do have on film, and I don't have access to it right now. It's buried in one of my folders. But that particular one, when it came in the air, that bad boy came in. It was crazy because it was like 4 in the morning. On a weeknight, I was driving down the highway, and it's pitch black, and there really wasn't no cars out. I shared that on one of the live streams. I had to figure out which one, or just pull that footage back up. But man, that bad boy, it just literally a bright light, a ball of light just came into the black night sky, like shoo, it just came in there like out of nowhere. And then when it came, to me, it looked like it was some sort of like capsule or something. So I don't know if it came from like way deep space and it kind of like flew, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it almost was like the comparison to an egg and yolk, because when it came into the atmosphere, it was like a big bright ball of light, which I would symbolize or metaphorically call like a egg, right? But then when that happened, the ball of light just stopped and suspended in midair. And then the craft came out of the doggone, like whatever that encasement or whatever that carrier craft was, the actual UFO craft came out of that at a really slow rate, and it just started cruising like real slow up out of the, out of the carrier craft. And it just kind of like just disappeared into the night sky. But it was dope because I caught the whole thing, on film. And then even after the craft actually left the carrier craft, it was like a big, almost like a circular like cloud in the sky, and it didn't dissipate for a while. Like you could see it like as it was dissipating. It took its sweet time though. It took a while for it to dissipate. So I got all the pictures in the video that I could share it again for those who are into the extraterrestrial way of life, or those who know, or had experiences with them. But they definitely very real, very, very real. And I got the opportunity to have, I say maybe 3 or 4 different ones that I caught with pictures. And then I got that one that actually I think I got 2 where I got video footage, but one of them, it was moving so fast. The footage isn't that good, but if you really look at it, you can see it. But yeah, so back to this the stuff with the government, man. What do y'all think about that? And even try tapping in with what's going on with all this this foolishness with the government. Did y'all see the attorney general and all the Congress and the Democrats going at it and arguing and all this? They say she about to get locked up because I guess she lied under oath and contempt of court and all kind of stuff, man. It's a lot. It's a lot. There's a lot going on. But it reminds me of there's an old dude that I'm gonna share like when we get out of here, Ogunda Meiji. And I feel like with today being Ogunda, that's something that it kind of spoke to me in regards to what all is going on right now, and like being able to fight through a lot of, the stuff that's taking place right now. And I forgot to I gotta pull that Ogun. I found this hammer too. That's like, I believe it's supposed to be like a couple million years old. And it's a powerful piece. It was discovered in, actually, I'm gonna pull that up now. Not bad fact, before I pull that, hold on, let me pull up another one. Something I want to share for those who are in the southeast region, or if you want to take a road trip to the southeast. Shout out to Wunam. She has an event coming up. Here it go right here. I'm gonna share this. I told her I was gonna share it for her. Okay, so yeah, shout out to Wunam. She'll be back with us, I believe, this weekend, family. But she's got the call to the indigenous people ceremony going down on the hope y'all can see that. It's kind of small on my end. Okay, the call to the indigenous people, global ancestral invocation and earth feeding ceremony. Call of the ancestors to feed the earth and to awaken the bloodlines across the tribes, across the nations, across the lineages. We gather in unity to honor those before us and restore the sacred exchange between people and earth, and to bring about for us to bring our offerings of food, of water, of herbs, of prayer, of drums, rattles, shakers, your voice, your ashe, your ori, all that. We need it because it's going down on March 28th, 2026, 3 p.m. And so, yeah, wherever you stand upon the earth, we're going to do this collectively, whether you can make it in person to the A or not. Like, we're still going to make it go down, collectively. So I don't care if you're in South Africa, because we got tribe members in South Africa, Canada, Jamaica, Trinidad. We got tribe members all over the globe, man. So shout out to everybody who's internationally checking in and tapping in with us, with the tribe, because we're going to do this collectively. So I'll definitely be sharing this all the way up until the 28th. And I look forward to having her come in and personally share more about it and let us know exactly, what all we can expect for this particular earth feeding ceremony, because we got to feed Mother Earth. Because like I said, the way I started the show, that was intentional, because Mother Earth, she letting us know, like, yeah, I ain't with the BS. Like, I'm not playing. Like, it's time for us to get right. And if we ain't right, we're going to be out of sight is the way I see it. I don't know if y'all can still hear me. But yeah, so she definitely speaking loud and clear, man, in regards to all the different things that's taking place right now on the planet. And it's a lot, we see it. We see it with these so-called people in positions of power. We see all that falling apart. We see it collapsing, right before our very eyes. So it's like everything is lining up precisely, I feel like, how it's supposed to, for us to do what we need to do. And so one of the things, too, as we can see, the system's falling. It's falling. It's on its way out. It's dead, really. What do we do, family? How many of us are like prepared, to do what we have to do to rebuild civilizations? We heard about it in these Noah stories and all these different things like that, but I feel like this is literally where we're at now. Like, we're on, especially here in the Americas, we're on the verge of literally rebuilding an entire society, an entire culture. hell, for that matter, an entire globe, for real. So like, how many of us are ready for that? How many of us have thought about that and prepared for that? Because we've heard this like all our lives for those 80s babies and, you know, the elders who were 60s, 50s, 70s babies, and to even the younger generation. I think we got people that's probably in their 20s, 30s that watch the channel as far as what I can see on the analytics. So, you know, we got people of all different ages, but are we ready, family? Like, we ready to get this thing cracking? Like, we ready to make it do what it do? Because it's our time, like, for real. And then you look at the whispers of war with Iran, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're trying to get, you know, this World War III popping, but I really don't feel like that's going to happen. I feel like all that is just a distraction to keep us, you know, occupied from what's really going down. And I feel like what's really going down, you know, we got the files, we got these people that need to be under the jail for the bullshit that they did to the children. But then at the same time, we got Mother Nature, you know what I'm saying, responding. We see the mothers, you know, doing what they do. And they definitely are here to guide and protect. You know what I mean? And that's a real thing. And we see this all across the globe. And so it's like they got the Iran thing, you know, pushing, I feel like, multiple functions. Like they're doing that for, you know, domestic distractions. They're doing it to get money, you know, with all these different defensive companies that these oligarchs and these, you know what I'm saying, these one percenters, you know, investing in. And for them, money, war means money. You know what I mean? It's literally a way for them just to get more money. And so that's all a distraction. And they're doing that to try to get money. To get these contracted companies they got, you know, the government, the defense, you know, all that stuff. It's all about geopolitical, you know, repositioning. Same thing with the Venezuela thing. Like it's all, and hell, even Mexico for that matter. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a lot of different things that's really all based upon money, power, and control. Period. What's good with you, DJ Kiko? Yes, sir. With a shoe, a legua in the heart. Yes, sir. Yeah, you already know. You already know, boy. SU already. He turned some things up, man. Shout out to I am SCG, boy. I keep my SU on, you know, I keep him right by me. If he ain't around my neck, boy, I keep him by me because that Ashe is powerful. For real, for real. And you know, we all know what SU is about. He about that life, boy. Expeditiously making things happen. And yes, it is real. Reiki activate. It is definitely real. For real, for real. Even the weather, man. For those who are in the South, like I think Reiki activate. I think you might be in the Bay Area or somewhere in Florida, if I'm not mistaken. If not, it was somebody else. But I know it's a few tribe members that I didn't know that was you know, in the same area. But yeah, we went from like summertime weather over the weekend to it's about it might be like 30, 40 degrees outside right now. I don't really feel like the weather be bouncing around like that. I think they're probably messing with that manipulation, you know, with the weather too, man. Because like I said, it's a whole lot, you know. So I definitely you know, look forward to what's to come because it's a lot that's manifesting, a whole lot. But I feel like a lot of it's going in our direction. And another thing too that I'm gonna get in later in the week, man. As far as like this AI thing, I'm not sure how many people like work from home or who have computer jobs, but we definitely want to pay attention to what's going on with this technology because the technology is moving at a very rapid rate. If I'm not mistaken, I want to say there might be like maybe 300,000 plus people of color who are out of work right now. And that's not by mistake. That's all by design. You know, and it's not just people of color either. It's all people. Where a lot of these companies are outsourcing for AI and pretty much just trying to eliminate the human being, like for real. And it's nuts, but it's a real thing, you know. And it's like even the creator, one of the creators from one of these companies, I had clipped the article that let me see that I read about. Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you on that, Walter, for sure. They don't. A lot of people don't even know who or what that 1% is for real. A lot of us do, but I'm sure there's a lot of people who have no idea who that 1% is. Not even close, because to be perfectly honest, some of them 1% look like us. And, you know, to quote the great philosopher Kendrick Lamar, they not like us, but they look like us. Some of them, you know, so it's a real thing. Ricky Activate said, at this point, the government is a joke. They always been a joke. As a state auditor, the system crashed from the inside back in 2019. Yeah, 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 I agree. And that's what it really is too. It's all, you know, family, our energy could be harvested without it being, you know what I'm saying, the adrenochromes and the things that they're sacrificing these children and young people for, like, or just people in general for. Energy is harvested through these devices, through this technology. Like for real. Like, I mean, for real, for real. So it's like I literally I wasn't wearing my little glasses, but I got to wear them because as much time as I spend on the computer, I have to block those rays. And so if you're somebody who works on the computer a lot, family, I highly advise you to get you some of them Blu-ray glasses, or if you wear actual glasses, get your prescription with the Blu-ray blocker in there, because those who are students of Dr. Blair's work, you I'm probably sure pretty sure that you're familiar with the diodes. And the diodes were like they came in a lot of different sizes. Like he had a small one that you could kind of put like on the back of your phone. He had ones that you could put on your earpieces. Matter of fact, they even had, if I'm not mistaken, they had like life-size diodes that you could put under your bed, like under your mattress. And what it is, these diodes are like, they're almost, the best way for me to describe, they're like a bulletproof vest for our energy. You know, they block, you know, EMF rays, they block these the different types of frequencies, excuse me, and like sound waves and like a lot of different waves that cause damage, you know, to our auric fields, to our minds, to our bodies. You know, a lot of these tools and technologies, you know, that are cancerous as well. And so like even like with children, I always try to do my best to tell them like, hey, y'all don't be sleeping with these phones, you know, by your head, because they literally, you know, they emit that them F waves and that low vibrational frequency. It could really mess up our brains. You know, they cause cancer and all kind of other things. So it's like these technologies, yeah, they're good for certain things, but they, you know, they just like medicine, man. They got the side effects too, you know, and them side effects do be doing them side effects things, man. They definitely make it you know, they make it a very hmm, very parasitical. Like they're like parasites, man. Feed off us. It's like we use them, they feed off us. And yeah, the trees too, man. That's another thing. Like the trees, you know, Winona speaks about that heavy about them trees. Like, don't be messing with them trees, boy. I remember one time we was talking on a call, private community call, and I had cut a tree down in the yard. And this is before my journey, and luckily for me, because I thought she was about ready to jump through the screen on me, man. She's like, "You did what? You cut down a tree?" I was like, "Yeah, because that." Oh no, did you get permission first? Nah, like you better go apologize to that tree. That's our family. You don't be messing with them trees. I was like, yeah, but I ain't know. I wasn't where I am now on my journey, so I didn't know, you know, the significance of you know, the relative of nature, you know, that the trees are to us. But yeah, she was ready to turn up on me about that tree. But yeah, that's a real thing, because you know the trees, that's what keeps the air, you know, the air quality and cleanliness of the air, especially like the Amazon rainforest. You know, I heard it was doing a bunch of BS over there too, and we definitely need the Amazon because that's like the lungs of the planet. You know, so yeah, it's a real thing. I appreciate you, Miss Tyson. Definitely appreciate it. Yeah, I put my email in the comments, and then I got a lot coming up too, Tribe. Besides working on this everyday Ashe thing, ancestors definitely they've been ever present. They always are, but they definitely been even more so as of late. In regards to like just a lot of different things that's going on, and a lot of different ways that I feel like they pretty much telling me what I need to be doing in regards to, especially with the tribe. So here's my email address for you in the comments. But yeah, we're looking to do I'm about ready to start the first semester, I should say, of the Sacred Journey. So that's something that's been in the works since really last year. I was trying to get it going towards the end of last year, the Sacred Journey with the you know, the ancestral uh spirituality journey, to teach about the Ori, the ancestors, the Orisha, Ifa. And then I'm gonna do that one probably solo, but I think I'm gonna work on bringing some guests in, of course, to come in, you know, and share some classes with me. But I'm gonna wait till this weekend, but I got some other stuff that we're working on with the Kemetic spiritual system as well. So we got some big things popping coming up this summer, family. Actually, the Sacred Journey, I'll probably be pushing that out midweek this week, definitely by the weekend. We'll have the signups and open enrollments and all that stuff for the Sacred Journey, and then we got something else popping off in the summertime, which we're working on that to lay the foundation and the groundwork and the curriculum work and the outlines and all that good stuff for the summer. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, we're probably gonna roll out the Kemetic. I think we're gonna roll that one out around the summer solstice, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm looking forward to that too. And then I'm also looking into doing content creation, creating a content Creation Academy, because that's something the ancestors have been on with me too, because especially right now with the jobs, and I think it was like 400,000 people that's out of work right now, as far as like in the US, and it's crazy. The numbers are getting worse. And then the more I'm looking at what this AI is doing, the more I'm seeing how it's only going to get a lot worse, unfortunately, because it's taking away a lot of jobs. So it's like, for those who, rely on a job, or those who rely on working for someone else, now can be a really challenging time, to create income and to create and generate revenue. So one of the things that we do have is the ability and the access to utilize the AI to work for us. So if you are someone who may have lost a job, or you're someone who might be on the verge of losing a job, or someone who got a cutback from your job, or whatever the case may be, because of AI, okay, now we need to learn this AI to make this AI work for us, because clearly that's what they're doing. They're using it to lay off mass people in order to create mass production with this technology. So we are the original AI. Shout out to Allen Iverson, but I'm talking about the ancestral intelligence. We are the ancestral intelligence. We are the progenitors of all of this intelligence. So therefore, we were the ones who actually created this intelligence. So why would we not be the beneficiaries or the benefactors of the same technology that they're trying to weaponize to use against us? So I've been blessed to know some people who are beast in that AI space, man. Like for real, for real. So I think I started with it. What's this, 26? I can't remember what year I actually got started with it for real, but I know I got a homeboy who he a tech dude. Like, this dude ain't nothing but tech all day, every day. And like, he knew about it before it even hit the public. So as soon as it hit the public, he was already on it. And so as the waves came, he was already tapped in. So he blessed me, man, with probably about, I got maybe 10, 12, 13 hours worth of calls that we did, where he was just, teaching me how to use it. And so I'm definitely looking forward to sharing what I have with it, and how to, especially when it comes to content creation, like how to use AI to literally make content creation a breeze. You know what I'm saying? I think for a lot of us, especially people who I speak to who are new to entrepreneurship or new to business, one of the most challenging things for people to do is to figure out what product or service to offer. Like, there's so many of us who have a vision, so many of us who have a gift, so many of us who have talents, so many of us who have the abilities to do a lot of things for ourselves. But I think one of the biggest, no, I don't think, I know one of the biggest hurdles or challenges for most people is to figure out what business to start, what product or service to sell or to create. And for me, like, that's something that I started doing back in 2016, when I first started doing consulting and public speaking and all that. I had to learn real quick what this thing called a target audience was, or a target market. And that's something I had never heard of. Like, I never heard of any of that stuff until I had got, started my first business in 2016. So it's like, before, when I first started, I feel like my gift kind of prepared the way for me and cleared the lane for me to get into doing what I do now, which is speaking and consulting, things of that nature. But I didn't know who I was speaking to. I didn't know who I was speaking for. I didn't know what products, goods, or services that I needed to create for these people. But I was blessed because in my starting early ages or early stages in my career as a speaker, each each event that I had led to another event. So pretty much either the person who brought me in or somebody in the audience will bring me into another event to speak for them. So it could be from elementary schools, it could be churches, it could be businesses, middle schools, high schools, you name it, community centers, all that. So it's like my gift made the way for me in order for me to get in front of people. And then once I did that, I realized, okay, I got to write a book. So then that's when the first book came. Then the children's book came. Then the t-shirts came. All of it kind of came together organically. But when COVID hit, that shut all that down. And so I had to go back to school. I had to go back to business school and get coaching and, join executiveship programs and things of that nature in order to learn a lot of different tools and a lot of different skills. So now I look at, especially what's going on right now, now's the time for us to really create our own, like literally, because we can. We can use these same tools that they're using to push people out of the workforce. We can use these same tools to create, to create and generate revenue and to create dynasties, really, for real. It's just a matter of knowing what you're going to create, who you're going to create it for. And then once you got that, it's a wrap. Because at the end of the day, all business revolves around solving problems, and the more problems you can solve, the more money you're going to make, the more business you're going to get. And then when you have a specific people, a specific person, or a specific problem that that you can solve, then that's it. We've seen it on the channel, like how many different guests came through, where people want to get divinations, or they want to get spiritual products, or they want to get this, or they want to get that. You know what I mean? Like it's amazing to me. And so now we're at that time, you know, where we gotta practice Sankofa. We have to practice, you know, a lot of the different spiritual heritage that, you know, we come from, you know, and really it's about bartering, you know, and working together collectively. By 2035, it said at 90%. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. At least that's what their goals are. And for sure. But I don't believe it's gonna go the way they think it's gonna go. Yeah, I don't think it is, because like I said, there's too many. We're seeing the writings on the wall now. You know, I don't know how many of y'all was here in the beginning when we saw that. You know, when I started out with that volcano erupting, but that's not a joke, and that's not an isolated event. Like, that's happening all over the globe. I mean, even look at Antarctica. You know, up there, like where the ice, all those ice walls and all that stuff that's melting and all, like it's a lot, man. It's a lot. So yeah, I don't believe all the stuff that they're trying to do, it's not gonna go according to plan the way they think it, you know, it is. I mean, hell, them same people in them damn files, they never thought they were going to be touched. They never thought they would be exposed. They never thought they would be in the position they are now. But look, here we are. You know what I mean? And that goes back to the principles and laws of Ma'at. You know what I'm saying? Justice, reciprocity. You know, like it's what you reap is what you sow. You know, if you put it out there, it's coming back 7 times fold. You know what I mean? So it's like there's no way around that. That's a universal law. That ain't just something, you know, we talk about. That's a universal law, and nobody's above the law of the universe. Nobody. Don't care how much money you got. Don't care what kind of title you got. Nobody's above that universal law, man. Period. And so they heart beat just like us, the ones that are humans, because there are some other types of creatures out there that's wearing skin suits, shapeshifters. It's a lot of that stuff going on, man. So, you know, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot, man. It's a lot going on. Soul Reason says, I lost 2 jobs in 2025. One day the company losing his contract, the other 20. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's a real thing, man. It's a real thing, because the technology, you know, if you think about it, I'll say for anybody who, let's just say 35 and older, 30 to 35 and older, if you think about the evolution of what we've seen in our lifetimes, like as far as like the jobs that have been eliminated from technology, it started slow. But let's just go back into like the 80s, right? You remember, or maybe it might have been before the 80s, but you know, back in the day, you used to have elevator attendants, right? But then as the technology grew, we were able to operate the elevator ourselves just by pushing the button. You know what I'm saying? And you think about when we go into a grocery store or even a fast food restaurant nowadays, like back in the day, you had an actual cashier who was ringing you up, taking your order, you know, bringing your food and all that. Now they got damn machines and robots that could do that for you. Even at the, you know, the grocery store, they got the self-checkout lines. Those who travel a lot, if you used to drive on the highway, you remember back in the day, we used to have to pull over at the toll roads and give the people the change, you know what I'm saying, or give them a couple dollars, and they'll give us back the change. And then they came up with the ones that had like the little plastic net where you just took the change, just threw that thing in there. Slowly but surely, we've been seeing it slowly, you know what I'm saying, like chip away, chip away, chip away, chip away. And then here we are. And then to go even deeper, we go back into the movies. They've been showing us this. They've been showing us, from the Matrix to Terminator to Total Recall, like everything that was on in the movies from the 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever, really more so 80s and 90s. Like that was stuff that they already probably like 50, 60, 70 plus years ahead in technology. Like right around that time when the Matrix came out, I don't remember what year that was, but there was a lot of big upswings as far as like the technology. And if you really want to be thorough about it, I would say the big boom happened, what, 47, when Roswell, when that crash happened in Roswell. That's when they very first started getting access to this, you know, elevated levels of technology. When they was able to get a hold and capture some of these crafts and then reverse engineer these crafts to take that technology, that's where the big boom really happened. I remember, matter of fact, doing a marketing class or workshop for one of the colleges here like a year or two ago. And it was crazy because I was talking to them and it just, spirit just came, kind of like be doing on the podcast. It was like, yeah, think about the technology boom from 1947 on. And so it was dope because this particular class, it was all adults, and I probably was younger than most of the people who attended. And so they all remember, you know, and clearly I remember it. So it's like, if you think about it, think about how much technology has boomed and took off after the year of 1947. Because if you look back at it, there was a lot of things that wasn't even thinkable prior to that year. But after that year, when they were able to get access to those crafts and start reverse engineering, that's when a lot of this technology came into place, and that's where we saw that big boom happen. And so, it's a real thing. But now it's like the technology is so far. What we have now, just think about it this way: we're impressed with what we're doing and what we're able to see and create with the AI now. That's what they gave to us. It's kind of like, in the old days when they so-called had slaves, when they so-called gave them the scraps, right? And just gave them whatever was left over, and so-called ate the good stuff. Well, I feel like that's what this technology is. These are the scraps. Like they gave us the scraps, but they got the good stuff. The stuff that can read through your pupil and stuff that can look in your brain. And you know what I'm saying? Look through your body, all that kind of, like, all that stuff is real. Think about Iron Man, the movie Iron Man, how he had them screens where all that's real. You know what I mean? Like that's where, that's why they show that stuff. Emperor Truth, I say, bro, anywhere here have firsthand experience with famous AI and regarding the tribe. Is there any type of collaborating going on with the business I did? Yes, sir. Yeah, absolutely, man. You in the community, so I'm gonna share some stuff with y'all this week for sure. And I think probably the goal is to start doing the content creating classes probably on the channel. Like maybe I want to do them every Sunday, but I don't want to overcommit. So I rather under promise and over deliver. So I'm gonna say probably like two Sundays out of the month, I'm gonna do a content creation workshop, like right on the channel. Just share a lot of these different things that I've been using, not only to do with Ashe, but a lot of the different things that I do off air too. I use it to the best of my abilities. And I wouldn't even proclaim to be a pro by any stretch. I know people who, man, they be talking about prompts. I'm like, man, what the hell are you talking about? I don't know what you talking about, bro. But then they create whatever it is they were telling me that they were going to do. And I see, I'm like, yo, like you different. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's powerful. And even just I would say that I have a basic understanding of it. But what I do know, it definitely makes life a whole lot easier in regards, especially when it comes to content creation. Because the one thing that I shared, and I think it was, I can't remember which guest it was, but one of the previous guests, we were talking about how people are using AI to like do things, and I guess trying to sell things or trying to create things and trying to work with it. And almost like, I call it the Milli Vanilli effect, right? Because yeah, you can use it and it works, but you still have to have a very solid fundamental foundation or education on whatever it is that you're doing. You have to, because if you don't, you're gonna use it and you're gonna create some stuff, but you're gonna sound crazy as hell because people gonna look right through like, man, that's bullshit. Like that's cap. Like he ain't, he or she, they not da 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 da. Because people could feel, you know what I'm saying? Like every person who's here right now, I feel like if you're here for, you're in alignment, you're here because you feel the vibe of the channel. You feel the vibe and the I share the guests. You feel the vibe and I share the energy exchange, the comments, the chat, you know what I'm saying? The messages, like all that is organic, but it's synchronicity. It flows, it really does. And our spirit is beautiful because even like the opening prayer with tonight's show with, Yei Oshun, she's the goddess of abundance, the IJ. And it's like everything flows because of Yei Oshun. When we think about the rivers, yeah, you got the Ocean River, which by the way, that sand on the Ocean River, it smells like perfume, which is absolutely, it's amazing to me. Like that's I don't know if I'll ever get over that. Like the sand on the river smelled like beautiful perfume. I'm like, yo, this is nuts. You can't tell me that we're not magical. You know what I'm saying? Like just that alone. Like I'm like, yo, that's dope. But I say all that to say, the way that river flows, if you think about our bodies, you know what I'm saying? Our blood flows through our veins just like the rivers of Ocean, or just like the river Niger of, Oya Yansa, and it's powerful, man. So I feel like we're all connected. And so everything, it happens in synchronism. You know what I mean? So it's like now's the time for us to synchronize with the planet, with the energy, with the frequencies, for all of us to be able to build collectively so we can elevate everybody else along with us. You know what I mean? Because everybody's consciousness alarm clock goes off at a different time. You know what I'm saying? Like some people goes off a lot earlier than others, but I feel like we're all obligated to lift each other up or pull each other up, you know what I'm saying? Or elevate each other collectively so we all can get up, come up and win. Because especially right now, like we definitely have to, start bartering. Shout out to, who's that? Reiki Activate. Yeah, facts. I barter with my business. It'll be nice if more of our people. Yeah, that's facts. Yeah, I do it all the time, Reiki Activate. All the time. Like I love it actually. Like a lot of the guests on the channel, we barter. We barter our products and services all the time. a lot of them, because that's what it's about. You know, I feel like anything that I have that I could do that's of value for you, and you got something that your skill or your products or your services is of value for me, why do we need to spend money? I'm gonna give you this for that. I mean, because that is the currency exchange, regardless. Because if you think about it, you got to spend time for money. So no matter what you do, it's gonna cost you time. So therefore, it's worth it to me to be able to work with people in barter, because it benefits all of us. But yeah, I definitely Emperor Truth, I got you, bro. We'll definitely be we'll be chopping it up with that. I'm talking about from the rooter to the tutor. The only thing I can't help you with is to create like whatever your vision is for your products or services that you want to offer. But if you already know what that is, then yeah, we got it, man. I'm talking about from brand kits to business plans, hell, how to start a business, marketing plans, content calendars, email automations, you name it, man. Like it's a lot. It's a lot that really, it's beneficial. And like I said, the technology, just like everything else, has the pros and the cons. But when it comes to being an entrepreneur, and especially in the content space, it couldn't be a better time to be alive, because the way that we have access to creating our own, it's really about doing the work and just creating, something that's valuable, something that, the people they want to invest in. Because one thing that, I wasn't sure how the tribe was going to rock with this type of content, because it's kind of different from what we've already been doing on the channel. But due to my little research that I did, and kind of like just checking the analytics and just doing market research, these are the types of calls that I see that this channel needs in order to kind of go to another level. Is like teaching and showing people, whether it's spiritual or even like with the business stuff, like how to get to the next level, to start from A to get to Z. And so that's something that I definitely love doing. So it ain't gonna be nothing for me to do it. But yeah, man, I got a lot, bro. I'm talking about a lot. So I'll definitely be sharing that in the Patreon and in the YouTube community. And we'll be chopping it up on the channel too. I'm thinking this Sunday we'll probably do the first one of the Content Creator Academy. The first call, man. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. And then Ricky Activate, if you in the Bay Area, we got some stuff. I got some stuff that I got bubbling in person too. So I got a couple of things that I'm working on now to start putting stuff together for in-person events and gatherings and workshops and healing circles and sessions, all kind of stuff, man. So it's a lot that's going down now. And like I said, now is the time that we need to get together, engage, together, and get on the same accord collectively, because there's a lot of things that we got to prepare for, family. As much as there's a lot of beautiful things taking place, and a lot of beautiful things manifesting and unfolding, we still have a beast that we have to eliminate and make deceased. I just put it that way. And I know y'all can read between the lines, but so yeah, there's definitely some energies and stuff that we still have to be prepared for, because like the sister said earlier, they're still doing that barbaric Iceman inheritance bullish, with just killing people for no reason senselessly. But when you have beings who don't have souls, they don't have the ability to feel. They don't have the ability to have empathy or compassion or any of that stuff. They don't have that at all. So, that's why they can do those heartless, soulless things, because they don't feel anything when they do those types of things. And so for those who are in the tradition, there's certain things that come along with our tradition that I'm not necessarily a fan of, because I'm not a person who looks forward to taking a life. I'm not a person who looks forward to eliminating, life. So it's like, but if you can do that and you're okay with it and it doesn't bother you, affect you, then yeah, to me, you're not of human nature at all. You're in the mankind position, where so there's different types of people in the world, family. So you have humans and you have mankind. So mankind is a kind of man. Mankind is like Neanderthal genetically DNA type kind of man. Human are Hugh. We come from the cosmos. We come from the stars, from the universe. You know what I'm saying? We are nano diamonds. Like all that is us for real. So it's like we're different, when it comes to that type of thing. Because if your hair grows up and coils towards the sun, Kiki laughed. But nah, for real, if your hair grows up and coils towards the sun, nah, either, that's some people. And if it grows directly down towards the ground, then that's six ether, that's different kind of people, mankind, kind of man. But but I also said, and this is the thing too, we have the ability to incarnate, or some people can shapeshift, so to come into different types of bodies too, straight up. Because if you are highly spiritual or highly advanced in regards to your energy and the frequency in which you operate on, the operating system, to me, it's like being a centralized neutral app like WhatsApp. You know what I mean? So people who are iPhone users, if you send a video to another iPhone user, it's gonna come out real clear and you're gonna be able to see it. It's gonna be precise and clean. But if you send it to an Android user, it's gonna come out kind of grainy. It ain't gonna have the same quality and all that, right? Well, if you use WhatsApp, it don't matter if you have an iPhone or Android. If you send that video to someone who has WhatsApp, then they'll get the video with the same kind of quality, right? So I feel like that's what it is with consciousness and energy, because I feel like when you have that kind of like quote unquote WhatsApp type of energy to where it can operate and be ambidextrous on the way that it can move, I feel like we could do that too when it comes to bodies. You know what I mean? Like coming in and out of different types of bodies. But it's deep, man. So that's something that I would love to go a lot deeper into with some of the elders that we've had on the show to get their perspective. But I definitely have my own thoughts and research and knowledge banks that I tap into when it comes to that stuff. But yeah, we had a beautiful time, man. Beautiful time, family. So I definitely appreciate all y'all for coming through. I got a couple more things I wanted to share before I get about this thing. I wasn't expecting to go this long. I thought I was only gonna do like 20, 30 minutes, but we got to chopping it up and having a family affair, man. And here we are. We still at it. So I'm gonna find my notes real quick to get ready to share with y'all the last couple of things that I had. Before we get about this thing, let me see. Oh yeah, too. Before I get into that, shout out to I am SEG. What's good with you? I am SEG. Matter of fact, we gotta get together too for the stuff we got popping. So yeah, we got a lot popping, tribe. We got a lot. We definitely got a lot coming. So I'm looking forward to all the collaborations, man, all the beautiful partnerships and things that we're doing to pour in and tap into the tribe. But before I get out of here, I wanted to talk about those in Florida. Have y'all seen that Florida has officially became a state that's going to utilize gold and silver, officially reestablishing gold and silver as the legal tender? Has anybody seen that lately? That was something that popped up in my little research for today's show in regards to what I want to share. But yeah, I think I don't know if it was DeSantis by himself or whoever was involved with it. But yeah, the state of Florida, I don't know if it was official today. I saw it today, so I'm not sure if it happened before today or not, but the report I saw was today, where it says Florida is officially moving the legislative cultural momentum around reestablishing gold and silver as legal tender at the state level. And right now it's saying that this move aligns with the growing national conversation about monetary sovereignty, particularly in the states that are pushing back against the federal financial infrastructure, which we see a lot of states ain't going, not playing the game with the pink piggy up there in the house. A lot of them they not with that. They ain't riding with the pink piggy no more. They say that they ain't really rocking with it. So Florida is nuts, because if I'm not mistaken, I thought they were in cahoots or in bed or on the same team, what have you. But I don't know now. But it's saying that this story is quietly one of the most important economic stories in America right now, family. So, and matter of fact, shout out to SCG, because you, Stone, Dr. Valentine, several people was on here talking about the importance of investing in gold and silver. And so yeah, it's official here, in Florida. They're saying that they working towards making that thing happen, if it's not already officially happened. But it's deep, because when we talk about this whole collapse and this whole thing going on with the shift economically, and how things are going, there's a reason why that's happening, and it's a reason why you're not getting it on mainstream media either. You know what I mean? Like, why that's not being talked about very much. But if you think about it, and to me, it's in divine alignment with everything that's happening in regards to this whole system collapsing. And then even to the point where I'll get into that later, but Putin is targeting, the Western financial system. And he calling them out. He said, the hell with Israel and NATO, Israel and I forgot the other one, but he's like, I'm about to turn my efforts to the Rothschilds and to the Western financiers, the Western financial infrastructure, because I don't like the way they're doing their people. And so he said he come for them now. So yeah, it's a lot of interesting things going on, man. It's a lot of interesting things going on. But if you think about it though, back in the day, back in antiquity, there's this guy that, a lot of us are familiar with now, but I would say over the last 5 to 10 years, most people probably just got familiar with, but shout out to the King Mansa Musa, who was considered to be the wealthiest man to ever live on the planet, especially at his time. And everything that he did, it was all with gold. And gold wasn't just about wealth; it was about sovereignty. It was about us controlling the economy, controlling our assets, controlling our wealth, with the gold standard. So yeah, to see that happening now, it goes back to some of the things that's taking place here and now. Here and now, man. So yeah, it's definitely a lot to be aware of and to pay attention to, family, for sure. There's a whole lot. Like I said, the ancestors been on me heavy about doing this. They're like, yeah, it's got to be an everyday Ashe. So I don't even know if that's going to be the name of the show. I'm thinking that might be the name. I don't know. Y'all got some ideas? Let me know in the comments of the chat. But yeah, they pretty much charge me with putting out something every day, for the tribe and for the family. Just to kind of talk about and have these types of conversations. Because there's a lot going on. And I don't know how many of us are aware of all the different things. I know I don't be aware of it. And I learn a lot from y'all, from sharing in the comments. So it's definitely a lot to pay attention to, because, when we get to that point, especially let's just say Florida decides to go independent and wants to use, the gold and the silver to redefine currency or to reclaim currency. It's like that's a position of power, and that's a very strong one, because currency, it's a different, that's something that's backed. And if I'm not mistaken, gold is at its highest point. I don't know if it's in all time, but definitely in a long time, if not of all time. So yeah, that's a lot to pay attention to, family. A whole lot. Let me see. I see some more comments in there. Yep, that's what I said. We fight in spirit. Cloak. Yeah. That's real. Yes, sir. Yep. Yeah. I got a story, man. I won't share it on here, but that happened to me in real life, and I didn't know that was possible. But that's the power of the ancestors. I'll share that. I won't go into depth and in detail because there was a different time in my life and totally different environment and personality. A lot of things were different, but I'll never forget. I had a personal experience one time where, until recently, I'll say probably within the last 7-8 years, I had no idea whatsoever how I was able to get away from a situation that could have been extremely dangerous, extremely dangerous. But it's amazing to me the power of the ancestors, like, because I know for a fact, like, we can cloak, like, for real. Like, I know that for a fact because it's happened before. And I'm talking about in a whole environment. It's almost like being a zebra or a gazelle in a whole pride of lions and being able to walk through that pride of lions and walk through them and away from them and getting out unscathed. That's pretty much, for lack of better words, that's how I describe my situation. And it took me years to find out how in the hell that was possible. I had no clue, no idea whatsoever. But then growing on my spiritual journey and then seeing the power of the ancestors and seeing the power of the mothers and knowing what they can and will do, I know now that there's nothing that can't be done. Like, straight up, I lived that one time. Straight up, I'll never forget it. And I just realized over the last 7-8 years how that was possible. But yes, we do have that ability for sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. And then IMG said, that's fantastic, Golden. So yeah, that's the real money for sure. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Interesting. Kiki said, interesting knowing they have our gold held up in Fort Knox. Yeah, they got a lot, man. Fort Knox, the Vatican, they got all kind of stuff. But it's coming back home though. It's coming back home, just like the planet is, slowly but surely. You can deny the lie, but you can't deny the truth. Can't do it. Ain't gonna happen. Said they stole our gold, gave us fake money. Yeah, and then one of that part want us to buy the gold back. Yep. Yep. Yeah. Chloe, yeah, he wilding. Like, boy, that dude there, boy, I gotta laugh at that dude, man. He's a funny guy. He's a funny guy. I saw something a couple days ago. Was it today or yesterday? This dude said, and please, I hope one of y'all seen this or heard somebody that can put it in the chat because I can't remember the specific, but this dude had a nerve to say, yeah, I'm about to donate 30 billion to the something like I Care Act or I Care People, something, one of his own damn organization. He said he gonna take like 30, it was 30 billion, 30 million. It was something crazy. I'm like, yeah, this dude is buku bonkers. He said, yeah, we're just gonna take the eye care, we're gonna take 30 billion and just donate it to the eye care foundation. Yeah, that's all. Y'all ain't gotta worry about that. Don't worry about nothing. It's okay. The eye care foundation, we got it under control. We got it. We got this. Don't worry about that. Just throw them 30 million over here to the eye care organization. Please tell me one of y'all that know the right one, because it was hilarious to me. But yeah, gold and silver is a legal tender, and we're going back to it. And then said they hold on to this place with a kung fu grip. They try. It is the highest time. I thought that I am SCG. I appreciate you. I am SCG said, yeah, gold is at the highest of all time. I thought it was up there. I didn't know if it was the highest of all time or one of the highest, in like recent times, but I knew it was up there from some of the reports I was reading. Because like I said, the ancestors got me doing some heavy duty research, man. I gotta activate my matter of fact, I think I'm gonna call it the Jagoon the journalist energy, man, because they got me doing all kind of research and deep dives into a lot of different stuff. But I love it though, and I've always said that I'm a nerd and proud of it, man. So I love to read, love to study, I love to do all that good ish. So man, yeah, we definitely gonna put it all to use here with the tribe. And then Chloe said, doubt that there's any gold left for now. Yeah, well, somewhere, regardless of where it's at, Chloe. Chloe said, I doubt there's any gold left in Fort Knox. If it ain't in there, it's somewhere. And it's going to be returned back to its rightful owners. That's the only way the universe would have it to be. And we're seeing a lot of it, like I said, we're seeing it happen right before our very eyes, with the shifts and the transformations and, the elevations, the frequencies. Like, it's a whole lot. So, and then, yeah, the astral projecting. As a child, I would astral project and look in folks' yard swimming pools. They go to a friend's. Yeah, listen, your gift different. For real. Like, I've been able to do that, but I don't know, like, on that level, I could do it. But the way you talking, like, you sound like you just do it for fun. That's what's up. But yeah, it's a lot of us like that though. For real. Especially the children nowadays, man. These children are different. Man, when I tell you these children are different, I don't know how many of y'all got younger children or around any young children, but these children are different. I'm talking about, I know we got old souls and crystal children, indigos and diamond children. It's a lot of different types of children that have come back to the planet, but we got some children now. I think it was Wunam now, something that's never been here before. They're a whole new breed of spiritual beings that's coming to the planet right now. And I believe that because I've been around some young people where it blows my mind how advanced they are, how intelligent they are. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. It's like, man, what I would give to be able to think like you when I was your age. Like, it's nuts. It's a beautiful thing, though. It's the ancestors at work doing what the ancestors do. Emperor True says, a couple more things. Remember, Dr. Valentine told us about the Glint app for gold and silver, and keep your eyes on the new movie for Moses the Black. You know what? I think you had asked me that question either when he was on or Dr. or Professor Kaba, Emperor True. If it wasn't you, somebody else asked a similar question. I didn't see that. And what I did see, if I'm not mistaken, it was like not too long after you said something. What I did see is they pulled it down, or they was about to have a release. And then they pulled it back or something like that. So did it actually come out? Did that movie actually come out? Because I remember you or someone mentioning that on the channel during one of our streams with one of the elders. But I saw something online about they was about to do the release, and then something happened to where like they reneged on it, like they pulled it back and didn't release it. So I don't know if it actually got released yet, or what I'm saying, if that's still in effect or what have you. But I definitely want to check it out though. I definitely want to see that if it does come out for sure. Looking forward to that. Matter of fact, Ethiopia alone, that's a topic of discussion because Ethiopia, I don't know how many people know the significance of Ethiopia, man. Ethiopia is it's a utopia. Like it's one of the only countries that was never like fully colonized, first of all, and then it's also the true original place of Christianity. You know what I'm saying? Like before it got stolen and polluted with all the BS from all these so-called authors that wrote it and played musical chairs with the BS that they put in there. But yeah, that's where all that really began. Even to where they got the churches, that they built from the roof down. You know what I mean? Like they got some stuff over there in Ethiopia, man. Very, very powerful historical places in Ethiopia and stories. A lot of griots and a lot of people who got hundreds of years on the planet still over there and still dropping knowledge and still, living in an intact cultural environment that was not infiltrated, by these parasites who are running amok all over the rest of the globe. So yeah, Ethiopia is a very, very powerful place. Very powerful. Matter of fact, they even got mountains, man, that stretch so high. It's like you could walk on the clouds. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's people who live at the top of some of these mountains that's so far up in the sky that clouds are under. They can look down at clouds. Like, it's dope. It's real dope. I haven't been there. Actually, I did. I've been there, but I didn't actually like get the chance to chop it up, like to go into Ethiopia. I think I was like a layover or something when I was flying, so I didn't get a chance to actually experience it. But I'm looking forward to it for sure. You said $1 billion to get on the board of peace. That's what it was. Is that what y'all? Is that what the piggy in the office, the pink piggy in the office, will talk about? The board of peace he gonna give. Man, when I saw that, I busted out laughing like, this dude is buku. He's nuts. It's funny to me. But yeah, my boy said I'm about to give 30 billion to the board of peace. Yeah, or a billion to the board of peace, whatever the number was. It was a crazy number. I thought it was hilarious. I really did. I said, boy, you gotta love it. Who was funding the inner city gang stalkers who were, I don't know a lot about that, Miss Laura. I haven't heard a lot about that. But I mean, think about it. If they're being funded, who do you think are funding them? I think we know the answer to that. Who are the people that's in all these goddamn files who ain't been faced with no charges yet? Who are these people who we know for a fact that, you know what I'm saying, are out there running amok, trafficking, kidnapping, you name it? Who are these people? We know, we seeing who a lot of them are. We've heard whispers of it, you know what I mean? But we know now, I mean, there's names to put to, you know what I'm saying, who these people are, or I won't even call them people, who these kind of man or mankind uh, things are. Like, we know what it is, man. And it's disgusting. It really is. So, it's a very interesting time to see how all this unfolds, because, I'm gonna tell you too, like, the way I see it, family, like, people say, yeah, we got to get him out of there. He needs to be removed out of office, this and that, da, da, da. Okay, but how confident are you that, let's say they do pull him out, right? And let's say they put a Democrat in or whoever. How confident are we that they're going to do anything different or better? It might be a little better. I mean, I don't think it get worse than this shit show, but how much confidence do we really have in anybody from either one of those sides coming in and doing the right thing? I mean, I feel like it's possible because anything is possible. But if we look at the track record when it comes to especially people of melanated descent, we ain't really had no allies in this challenge that we've been dealing with here. Like, from that perspective, I see there's definitely a shift going on. I definitely see that. I see the powerful representation of melanated Congress members, Senate. There's a couple of powerful sisters that I've seen that they whew, I love that energy, boy. They coming to get them. I think what's the one sister from Texas? Is it Jasmine Flowers? I think that might be her name, Jasmine Flowers. Something like that. And if I'm saying her name wrong, please give me grace, because I don't want nothing with her, boy. She is fiery and I love it, boy. I'm here for all of it. And then there's another sister too. I can't remember her name, but she has she wears the glasses. She always dressed fly. She got the real low haircut, and she wears the glasses. She be clean, but she be getting their ass together. But I be like, ooh wee. I be doing a Farrakhan phase. Be doing a Farrakhan phase where they be getting together, boy. So I'm definitely seeing a lot of us coming through, shifting. And I'm seeing people, really of all races, colors, and creed, like, they getting some straightening. So I just hope that, collectively we can come together to create Jasmine Crockett. Okay, yes, sir. Yeah, boy, she ain't no joke. She ain't no joke. She ain't no joke, boy. I love it. I'm here for it, boy. That energy is strong, boy. She ain't nobody to play with. Yes, sir. Okay, Laura said the Black elders are being targeted by the young Black youth nationwide. Be careful. Wow. Yeah, I didn't know anything about that. I'm gonna have to look into that and do some research on it. Yeah, I didn't know anything about that. But like I said, there's so much going on though. So much going on. Where is that? What state is that? I mean, I'm sure it probably ain't just one, but which state are you in, Miss Robertson, if you don't mind sharing, just so I can kind of get an idea, because I haven't heard about that. But I do know it's a lot going on though. I know that for sure. And and that's where we got to get involved with our youth. And then that even goes back to what I was sharing about what we're going to be doing here. And, where I'm at is to work on getting together with the youth, man, because they need guidance now more than ever. Because we got some very, very bright, very, very intelligent, very, very, about that life. They got heart, they got the courage, they got everything, but they don't have the guidance. So, we definitely got to pour into our youth and reprogram, where their minds are. You know what I mean? Like we got to get them to unlearn and relearn, unlearn all the BS that they've been raised up in this culture and relearn, the laws of the principles of Iwa Pele, balance and good character. Because there's a lot of things that, of course, it's not going to be taught in school. And unfortunately, it's not taught in the homes either, because a lot of us, were raised by either single parents or young parents or aunties or uncles, or, you know what I'm saying? Like raised ourselves. And then even for those of us who had, both our parents or one of our parents, things still wasn't easy because our parents was working a job, 2 jobs, 3 jobs, you know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of things that we're completely removed from what is like actually native to us, like what is actually normal for us. Like we're a collective people, we're a communal people, like we move, you know what I'm saying, in a community. We're community oriented, we're culturally oriented. That's why the whole world, want to be like us. That's why we, what I'm saying, we lead in pretty much all aspects, because we just know how to move and shape. We know how to make things happen. And it's like this whole entire system was created for divide and conquer. Literally, like the whole entire infrastructure of everything that we're experiencing right now was created 50 to 100 years ago, specifically to do exactly what it's been doing. So it's like now we got to jump in and we got to disrupt all that. You know what I'm saying? We got to jump in like prime time and get an interception, and intercept that bullshit pass, and then, go the other way with it. And that's the only way we're going to really make shift happen, with our youth. And it's something that I've been doing since like 2016 or 17. I've been working with the youth. It's kind of funny because I literally was just watching some old footage from some of the work I did with the youth last year, towards the end of the year, with the youth program that I was working with. And it's like I was looking back at that to prepare for some of the work that we're about to start doing now. But it's needed. It's definitely needed, man, for sure. And to the point where even like to go back to where I was sharing with the brother Emperor Truth earlier, same way I was talking about doing the business stuff with the tribe and with the channel, I'm gonna look into doing something with the youth as well, even if it's virtually, because I have a vision for something that I want to put together for our youth, because we need it. And even like the brothers that were working with me, it's therapeutic for all of us, because there's not a lot of places that I know of. I'm sure they're out there. And shout out to Miss Mariana, because I know she's doing some things out there. Her and I am SCG, they have programs where they're pouring into the women, on healing and growth and elevation and transformation and all that. But then she was saying that there's some brothers who's doing it out there too. I want to say in Sacramento, where they're having like workshops and big events for healing for brothers. And so that's something that I've been a part of, several of them here where I'm at in Florida. And then I've trying to think, did I host any of them? I hosted a couple of them, but I don't know if I ever threw my own public event for brothers. But I'm definitely looking forward to putting some things like that together, especially for our youth, but for brothers in general, because a lot of us, we don't talk about mental health. We don't talk about, our emotions. We don't talk about the anger, the suppression of, what I'm saying, like feelings or trauma, all these things that we've all been through. Like we don't talk about that, as men. And so that's something that we have to normalize because there's nothing wrong with that. And for me, excuse me, every time that I've been a part of any one of those workshops, classes, sessions with the youth, or even with other brothers, other adults, it's every single time it's been therapeutic, extremely therapeutic, because you can't help but to feel another person's pain or passion, especially if you have a similar, trauma or similar adversities that you've had to overcome as well. You know what I mean? So, and I think, I don't know who I was talking to, but I was talking to somebody recently over the last maybe week or two. And I remember like when I very first started with public speaking, I learned that lesson real early about how to connect with people. And for me, the way I learned how to connect with people was just being real, but not to the point of like trying to be real, like, trying to be hard or nothing. It was just about being real, like being transparent and just authentic, like, and speaking about challenges, speaking about struggles and things that, I've been through in life that I had to overcome. And I'll never forget like the response from the very first speech that I did. in Toastmasters when I was learning how to do public speaking. I remember the evaluation that the dude gave me, the president at the time. It was powerful because it kind of gave me confirmation that I was in the right place at that point in my life, because I was nervous, you know what I'm saying? I was scared, like my hands was all sweaty, palms were sweaty, voice was trembling and shaking. But you know, I knew I had to do it. And that's one thing about me, even when it's hard, I feel like, okay, we're just gonna have to do it harder, because I'm not gonna fold. Ain't tuck up a tail. So it's like you're gonna have to stand up and get in there and make it happen, man. So, but I was grateful the first time, because after that one time, it got easier. It didn't get easier immediately, but it did get easier because I was finally able to say, finally got that first one out the way. But I think what made it a lot more comfortable for me is like being able to talk to people. And honestly, I feel like that's the same thing with the tribe, like with this podcast, like being able to talk to people and just be yourself and just be real. You know what I'm saying? And real recognize real. So if you're authentic, people gonna feel that. They're gonna feel, you know what I'm saying, something that resonates, because it really, I feel like that's how I feel when I hear somebody that I feel like they got a real message, or they got a real you know, tone, or they got a real persona, a real aura, or whatever it is. I love it. You know what I'm saying? Because I can relate to that. It's a connection. It's an energy exchange for me. So, you know, in the very beginning, talking about life and talking about challenges and things that I've been through and had to go through, other people been through it a lot too. So it's like when you're able to connect with people that way, it makes it special, especially with the youth, because I feel like a lot of young brothers, you know, they don't have anybody. And I remember one time telling them that I love them, and I asked them, like, when the last time another man has told you they love you? You know, I think I had a room of maybe like, I don't know, 10 to 12, 13, 14 young men, and not one of them raised their hands. And it was crazy to me. I'm like, yo, that's nuts. And so it's like, you know, well, I'll tell you what, I love you. You know what I mean? If you haven't heard it, I love you, because somebody need to tell you. I'm gonna tell you straight up. And I feel like just something as small as that can help, you know what I'm saying, boost a young brother's confidence, can boost, you know, their mood, can boost their energy, can, you know, elevate their ashe, their confidence, all that, because it's hard, you know what I'm saying? It's like I'm hearing stories about people losing people left and right, man. I just heard about a friend of mine's, one of their friends just lost a child, man. And it's crazy. So it's like people, we dealing with a lot, family. So it's like I want to make sure that I do my best to be here, you know what I'm saying, with the tribe, and to tap in and, you know, just contribute as much as I can for all of us to make sure that we ain't never gonna lose no damn hope. We ain't gonna never, you know what I'm saying, feel like, you know, we're defeated, because we're not. If you woke up and you're breathing, we winning. I don't care what your bank account look like. I don't care what your relationship status is. I don't care your old man on your last nerve, your old lady make you want to pull your hair out. I don't care about none of that. If you up, you alive, you awake, you breathing, we winning. Period. That's how I see it. Because trust and believe, there are a lot of other opposing forces. If they had it their way, none of us would be here. So yeah, nah, we like baby's kids. We don't die ninja. We multiply. That's how it is. Oh man, let me see. Y'all got me going way longer than I thought I was gonna go. I'm gonna go ahead and go a little bit longer before we wrap this thing. I'll go ahead and get ready to, God willing, be back tomorrow. Yeah, there's the men's well. Okay, yeah, that's what's up. Yeah, we need to make that all over the country. That needs to be really all over the globe, man, for real. Let's see if I'm missing anything. Tap into natural crystal. That's what's up. Tap into natural crystal. I don't know if that was for all of us. This is the one. Gang stalking is prevalent in the black communities. It's crazy. Yeah, I haven't. I'm not saying it's not happening here where I'm at. I haven't heard about it. I hope it's not happening, but either way, it's a lot of stuff that is happening that we definitely gotta tighten up on. Especially with our youth. Travis Daniels. How can we honor our ancestors? African spirituality. Travis, there's several different shows. If you look at the channel, if you go like to the videos section and then just scroll down, you shouldn't have to look too far. There's several shows that literally are dedicated to you know, honoring and working with the ancestors. Matter of fact, we did one not too long ago, if I'm not mistaken. There might be one that was posted on like January 2nd, 3rd, or 4th, something like that. The very first one that was posted in 2026, that one was towards the ancestors. And there's several more. But just to kind of answer your question in a quick manner, you know, talk to them. That's the very first thing I would tell you. Talk to them. The same way you're talking to anybody else who's at the house with you right now, or the same way you would talk to somebody on the phone, the same way you'll talk to anybody. talk to them, especially if you have a specific ancestor who, transitioned and crossed over. Like, so for me, I'll just say like my grandmothers, you know what I'm saying? Both of them. Like I talk to them like I talk to y'all. I talk to them like I talk to, anybody, because we don't die, we transform. And Spirit's on me now to share a story with you of how powerful that is, how real it is. But I'm gonna tell you how real it is, and why you should talk to whoever it is that you're, I feel like you might want to communicate with, because they hear you. And ask whoever it is, say for example, like say if it's your grandma, talk to her just like you're talking to me, or you're talking to anybody else, right? And then ask her whenever you finish saying whatever it is you're saying, ask her to show you a sign. Ask her to show you, you know, ask her to communicate back with you in a way that you know that you'll understand, and that she knows that you'll understand, and that it'll resonate with you, or that it'll make sense to you, or that it's something that you will be able to comprehend, right? And then also, you can always pour libations. You could pour some water out, drop like three drops of water, you know what I'm saying, like by a tree, and then, and speak to her then that way, and then from there, I don't know if you have an ancestral shrine yet or not, but you can create an ancestral shrine. There's a lot of different ways you could do it, but one of the most basic ancestral shrines that you can create, trying to see if I have anything by me that I can kind of whip one together. I don't have enough stuff in here, but yeah, what you could do, man, you could literally create you a small ancestral shrine with like a little, I don't know how much space you have, but it don't have to be anything fancy. You can just get like a stand. Hell, you could use something like one of those folding tray tables that people use to eat with, or something, anything that's a flat surface that has, a base that it can stand, right? And then you want to get you like a white sheet or a white cloth and put that over the base of whatever, your stand is. And then from there, whichever ancestors that you're trying to communicate or that you want to communicate with, get a nice picture of them, and make sure when you get the picture of them, like that, no human, like nobody who's still alive is in the picture with them. So just make sure that that picture is just them by themselves, or if it's a couple of ancestors who have crossed over and they're in the picture together, that's fine. But you just don't want to cross people who are living still here in the physical world with people who have transitioned to the spiritual world in the same picture when you put it on your shrine. And then after that, you get your base, you get your white cloth, you get you a picture of them, and then from there, you could put really something as simple as like a glass of water. I don't have a glass in there. I got my little mug with my water, but you can get you a glass of water, like a goblet, like this right here, something like this. And it don't have to be as tall. You can get a smaller one, and then from there, you can get you a candle, and put your candle, put your picture maybe in the center or in the back. And then, after you have your white sheet on your base, and then you put your picture on there, and then you put, a glass of water like that, and get you a white candle. And then if you really want to like ground it and all that, you can go outside and get like 4 rocks that really speak to you. And you put like 1 rock on each corner of the base of the table that you use. And then shoot, from there, I mean, you really got you a basic ancestral altar set up just like that. It's very simple, and the ancestors are so powerful, and they're so, they're unlimited. So it's like, it don't take a lot, and you don't even need a shrine. I want to be clear. You do not need a shrine. You can talk to them, like I said, just like you're talking to us, just speak to them, call them out, speak to them with grace, with sincerity, just be real, and just talk to them as if they're sitting right there, because believe it or not, they might actually be right there, like for real. So if it's somebody who you really, yearn to communicate with, or you want to hear from or connect with, that would be the easiest way. And like I said, we go way deeper with like several of the calls on the channel. If you go back and just look at any of the shows that has ancestors in the title, we go heavy with those. And then you're more than welcome to join the Ashe community, private community, the tribe on Patreon. The links are in they're in the channel description. I could post them in here too. But we have some private community calls where we go a lot further in depth with it. Matter of fact, we've had Wunam in there several times, coming in to speak about, connecting with the ancestors. I think we got some prayers and things of that nature. But I'm launching the Sacred Journey membership, so that's something that we're going to definitely go real deep with, in regards to like different types of ways to communicate with the ancestors, because there's different prayers we could use, different songs we could sing. There's a lot, there's a lot that can go. You can really get elaborate and intricate with it, like for real. But like I said, just to get started, you talk to them. That's the most important thing. Talk to them. And then even tonight, if you want to do it tonight, get you a glass of water like the one I just shared. And just if you have a nightstand on the side of your bed, put that glass, like talk to the water, pray to the water, talk to the water, and talk to that ancestor and ask them, to sip on that water. Ask them to use the water as a conduit of communication. Water is all knowing, all hearing, all seeing. Like water is like the most powerful conduit on the planet in regards to being able to be a carrier of messages. You know what I mean? So talk to the water, put it on the side of the bed, and speak to them and see what happens. You might get a visitation in a dream, or you might wake up the next day and have a bird sitting outside your door. Like, there's just so many different ways that we can do it. And what I'm finding now is they're communicating on a very, very high, rapid rate and level too. Very high and rapid. And then, matter of fact, look out or pay attention to scents. If you have like a certain fragrance or a certain smell that comes across your path, that could be them letting you know too. And ask for that sign. Ask them for a sign to let you know that they're there, that they hear you, and that they're with you. And they'll give it to you. Trust them, lead that. And then join the channel, man. If you haven't already liked and subscribe to the channel, because we're very ancestor heavy here, man. That's all we do. Let's talk about the ancestors and pay homage and respect. Matter of fact, the video I was running behind, I wanted to upload it so bad. I had a moment whatever day the 19th was. I think it was last Wednesday or Thursday. I'm looking at him right now. My freedom fighter ancestor, the Honorable Malcolm X, also known as the Honorable El Haj Malik El Shabazz. I feel like he came to me. I had a dope little, I'm going to share it. I wasn't able to share it tonight because the file wouldn't upload for some reason, but I had a dope little like meditation session, man, where and it's crazy how spirit works, because I didn't realize the anniversary of his transitioning was 2 days after that, which was nuts. And those who are in the private community, y'all saw the video that I posted in the private YouTube and Patreon paying homage, to Malcolm. As a matter of fact, Professor Kaba actually was doing a prayer to him at his gravesite, and he spoke the prayer in the Medu Nature language. It was powerful. I probably shared it on the channel too, but I definitely want to share it with the tribe and the private community and the YouTube community. But yeah, anywho, I just lit a candle for him, man, and gave him, offering like I was just showing you. And I just sat here and just, like meditated, looking at the flame. And it was dope because in the process of doing that, I had the candle lit, I had the water there, I gave the offering, I said a little prayer, but then I just sat there and it was almost like I forgot what you call it, where you look at a flame, and you just look at it. And that's a form of meditation or visualization. But it was powerful. So I had to record. I recorded it. And then I had an incense burning. And so it was so dope because the way the smoke was rising from up underneath up to the sky, and then the way the candle was like dancing, and then the way that it was, the light was, the rays of the sun was shining through. It was dope, man. So I wanted to share that on tonight's call. I'm going to share it with y'all later this week. But it was just truly divine and organic. I feel like his spirit came, down on me, and it was dope because I didn't realize the timing of that day. He was born on the 19th of May, 1925, and it was nuts because that was the 19th of February. But I feel like was led to learn about a deity who is symbolized by the number 19. I believe it's called a Kawak, Kaaw. Okay, I can't remember how to spell it. But anyway, it's a Native American deity who's attributed to like thunder and lightning and storms. It reminded me of Shango, for those who are in Isheshe. It was dope, man. Very powerful experience. And I didn't realize that on that day was the 19th, was the same day I had that session with Malcolm. And then 2 days later was the day that he had transitioned, the anniversary of the day he transitioned. So it was just like a powerful 48 hours that I feel like his energy and his essence was here. And so I say all that to say, talk to him, man. Talk to your ancestors. If you want to go out in nature and speak to him by a tree, or if you want to go by some water, like a river or something, or, you can build you a shrine like, the one I just shared with you, real quick and easy. Or even if you want to just put the water, on the side of your bed and talk to the water, but they'll show you. Trust that. They'll definitely show you. All right, family. I kind of got off into I felt like I got off into a little bit of a tizzy. Let me see. Yeah, absolutely, family. No problem whatsoever. Definitely check it out. Donation-based healing house. What's that, Kiki Blunts? donation-based healing house. I see y'all was chopping it up in there. It was hard for me to keep up while I was building with my man Travis about the ancestors. But yeah, check out the channel too though, because like I said, we got some dope calls and talking about the ancestors, and there's a lot more in-depth prayers and different types of ways to connect with the ancestors too, man. I appreciate you, Jackie Lewis. You must have seen it in one of the membership. Yeah, it was, man. Like it was powerful. And I didn't know Professor Carver spoke to Medu Nature like that. He was out there dropping them jewels out there, man, in that Medu Nature. I was like, yeah, I gotta get some classes with that, some lessons, man. For real. Yes, let's see. Deborah says, let me see. Deborah said, hold on, fam. Deborah said, my past loved one seems to always find or come to me in my dreams, and I know it's real. Yes, yeah. Thank you, Deborah. I appreciate you sharing that. Yeah, it's real, man, and I really appreciate that because you're a living testimony of what I was just sharing with brother Travis, man. Like it's a real thing, and like I said, you don't even have to be dreaming, man. Like I've had them come, like just sitting in the room one day, just like walk by or kind of kind of come past my nose, just like and I smell like, oh, hey, what's up? How you doing, grandma? like it's dope, man. I've had so many different experiences in nature, squirrels, birds, fish, dolphins, eagles. It's a lot, man. A lot. Cats. The cats been going nuts lately. They really been like very, very present. Very, very present. So yeah, it's a lot. Birds in formations, you know what I'm saying? Like when you see them almost like synchronized swimmers when they be moving all in formation in unison, like all those, it's all ancestral signs, man. Matter of fact, I just saw a video today about how intelligent ravens are, the bird ravens that are like crows. And they're considered to be, I guess, one of the most cognizant animals in the bird kingdom, if I'm not mistaken, from the little report that I saw. Like they put them up there with the doggone I think like with the dolphins and the apes, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, we get a lot of signs from nature. Hell, even a tree. Like you could be sitting out, say if you're at a park or you somewhere out in nature and you sitting on a bench or on a towel or a blanket or something, and then you speak to your ancestors. You mess around and see a leaf might fall like right beside you, or a branch might just, you know what I'm saying? Like you just never know because that's the magical aspect of who and what we are, and it's a very powerful thing. There's no such thing as us being disconnected. And I forgot to share the story. I'm gonna share this story. I'm gonna get up out of here, try. Cause I know my goal is to get back in here tomorrow too. But to go into the significance of how our ancestors don't leave. I used to have a dog, Nino Bishop Brown, man. Shout out to Nino. And he transitioned in 2018, 2019. And hardest thing I ever had to do, man, was to bring him to the Humane Society for him to go home. And so I ain't gonna front, I cried like a baby because that was my dog, man. He was like my first son, my first pet that I had as a grown man that I bought and took care of and raised all that. But long story short, he was a rider, man. He rode with me for I think about 15 or 16. He was a pit. And they normally don't live that long, but he lived for a while. And so when it got to the end, I had to put him down, or I had to bring him to the vet for them to euthanize him at the Humane Society. And so hardest thing I ever did, man. But the way that the ancestors were, and when I tell you, like, I've had several experiences before this, but this one was probably one of my most profound experiences, is that when that happened, I was broken up, man. I didn't get that sad over losing people, and no disrespect to the people and the family and all the friends that's transitioned, but it was just a different relationship. It was a different dynamic to that relationship because he was there with me through the thick, the thin, the good, the bad, the ugly, a lot. And so we had a real special bond. And the day that I was bringing him to the Humane Society, I was driving on the interstate. And at the time, the car that I had, it had one of them auxiliary cords that plug into the phone, and then you could play the radio like that. I don't know if Bluetooth was out like that then. But anywho, driving, and he had an accident in the car. And I could see like he was ashamed, that he had an accident in the car, and maybe embarrassed that he had an accident. I was like, it's okay, it's all right, So I pulled over, I got off the highway, I pulled over to let him out and to clean it up or whatever. So when I did that, in the process of me climbing over from the driver's side to the passenger side where he was at, I accidentally knocked out the auxiliary cord from my radio from whatever music I was playing. I don't remember what I was playing. And when that happened, I'll be damned if that song from Adele, Hello from the Other Side, was playing. Hello from the other side. Man, listen. So that song was playing. And I'm like, yo, that's nuts. I'm like, yo, that's our song, man. That's our song right there. You know what I'm saying? So I went ahead, cleaned them up, went on to the Humane Society. And so when we did it, like I said, that was one of the hardest things I ever had to do. But I get back home. This is where the ancestors got involved. I get back home literally that same day when I got back to the house after bringing him, for him to go home, for him to put down. It was like 4:44 p.m. I was like, oh boy, here they go. So that right there, for those who are familiar with the angel numbers and numerology, I know y'all know the significance of 444. So then after that, this was a Saturday. So I was just that down. I ain't do nothing the next 2 days. That Monday I didn't go to work. I'm like, I ain't going to work, man. I ain't in the mood. But I did go to the gym. Went to the gym, worked out, and it was unbelievable because while I was at the gym, I got a random inbox from the sister who I had never spoke to before. Like, I don't even know how we became friends, honestly, but she inboxed me and she was like, yeah, she was like, I got a message for you from Spirit. I was like, man, what the hell is this lady talking about? What is she on? Like, I'm thinking it's some BS or whatever. And so I didn't, I kind of played it off. Like, I wasn't really being too engaging. I kind of was like, okay, what do you want? What are you here for? Like, what are we doing here? But she kept going. She was like, yeah, I got a message from Spirit. I was like, yeah, Spirit got a way of doing that. She's like, well, I got a message from Spirit. And she's like, what's your grandmother's favorite color? I'm like, yo, you wilding. Like, why are you asking me this? so I kind of didn't really respond. I said, I don't know. I said, I had to ask my parents. I said, because I don't know. And I really didn't. But I felt like, what are you asking me these questions for? So then she came back. She was like, well, was her favorite color green or was her favorite color turquoise? I'm like, yo, what is this about? So now I'm kind of like tripping, like, yo, this lady, like, who is this? You know what I'm saying? Because what she didn't know, at least what I thought, one of my grandmothers lived on Green Street, right? And then both of them were buried in a turquoise dress. So when she did that, I'm like, oh man, what the hell is going on here? Right. So then she was like, at that point I knew she knew something, but I still was kind of reluctant because I'm like, yo, what is this chick on? And I'm still I'm in a bit of a sunken place. Like I just wanted to beat up the weights, and then go on about my business. But I couldn't help but respond at that point because then Spirit was like, you might want to answer her, or get, let her know that she knows something about what she's talking about. So I was like, yeah, I said, well, yeah, Spirit does have a way of doing that, So she's like, well, a woman came to me and she came to me as if she was your grandmother. And she came to me because she told me she had a message for you. And she said she looked like she was holding something. And then she also said that she wanted to give you this message. So at this point, I'm like, yo, this is nuts. So she said she was holding something that looked to appear to be some sort of document, right? In one hand. And then she said she was holding something else that was like a dog. So this one I'm really like tripping because I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Because literally, I think that Friday I had just had a meeting with a school that I was looking to get a contract with to come in and do like a coaching program with, right? So I'm like, I know she knows what she's talking about now because she got the dress right, she got the color of the street, the name of the street that she lived on right, and then now she's telling me about this document, which I literally was in a contract meeting like 2 days before that, and then she's talking about she's holding something that looks like a dog. And so, man, this is where it really got crazy. So then she was like, yeah, well, she wanted me to tell you that everything's going to be all right. And she wanted me to let you know that your baby is safe with her. And man, when I tell you, like, I literally busted out crying and laughing at the same time. Like, I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know it was possible to do both. But boy, I tell you what, it happened, it happened that day because I laughed like, damn, boy, only grandma would do something like that. And then I cried because it was tears of joy at that point. Like, I wasn't sad no more because I'm like, damn, man, that's amazing. Like, that's amazing. Like, you came all the way to this stranger to get her to give me that message to let me know that you had my crazy ass Nino with you, man. So it was just like, it was a powerful story, man. Very, very powerful experience. And so from that day forward, nobody can tell me that we don't just transform. And there's so many more I can go into, but that one was profound because the alignment, like, all the way through, even with the song. So every time I heard that song after that, I just thought about him like, yep, he's straight now. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it was powerful. Very powerful, family. So to answer your question, Travis, hopefully I went far enough in depth with that, man, because yeah, they real. They don't leave. We transform. And, you know, they definitely continue to watch over us, to guide us, to communicate with us, you know, and be there for us. So, and I appreciate you, Miss Deborah, for sharing your story, because that triggered me to share that story in regards to, you know, how my grandmother came through for me. But yeah, they come through, man, whether it's dreams, visualizations, you know, whether it's, you know, coming through, you know, in all types of different ways. So, but it's definitely powerful. It's profound, to say the least. Yes, sir. But yeah, man, look, I'm gonna have to go ahead and pick up with some of the other stuff that I was gonna share tomorrow, because I definitely, y'all got me on a whole 2-hour stream solo, like when we do with the guests, man. Look, y'all got me working hard tonight, but I love it. I love it. I'm here for it. But yeah, I appreciate y'all for sure. So I definitely give thanks, family. Shoot, we almost 100 deep at 12:30 on a Monday. So yeah, the ancestors definitely pushed me to do the right thing. But yeah, I got a lot more in store though. So we're gonna be chopping it up with all things that's going on. Yeah, I feel like they trying to get me to have our own little news station here in these Ashe streets, man. So from the ancestral perspective, is how we're gonna be doing that thing, you know, practicing the laws of Ma'at, or I should say, looking at the world through the lens of Ma'at and Iwa Pele, man. Balancing good character, balancing gentle character, you know, and truth, justice, and righteousness and reciprocity, man. So we're gonna make it do what it do. But yeah, family, I definitely appreciate y'all. I'll see y'all. I don't know if I'm gonna do the live tomorrow, but my goal is to put one of these everyday Ashe shows up every day, just kind of chopping it up and tapping into the current events. And then of course we'll still have our guest shows. Like I said, we got some of the elders coming back this week. I haven't penciled in the exact days and times just yet, but I do believe middle of the week we should have some of the elders coming through this thing. And then if I'm not mistaken, Baba Patah and Wuna, I'm gonna be up in this thing for another Saturday Night Live is what the plans are. So yeah, we're definitely gonna be popping this week. And I got a few other people who I've been chopping it up with that we definitely trying to clear our or get our schedules to align to make some things happen with some previous or past guests or regulars, and then also a couple of new guests as well. So we're definitely working on making this thing happen, family. So I appreciate all y'all for tapping in with me. Brother Emperor of Truth, I'll be sharing that information in the tribe this week for sure. And then the new listeners, Travis and several other people that I think were new that I haven't seen yet. Welcome to the tribe, man. We appreciate the love and support. Mr. and Mrs. King, I definitely appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all clearing me up with the name last live stream. So yeah, they definitely do. And that's facts. The ancestors do communicate and know everything that, yeah, before it even happens. Yeah, that's facts. Hell, that's why I'm on the show right now. They made me do this, like for real. Y'all don't understand. Well, I ain't gonna say that. I take it back. For me, anyway, it's funny because it's like when they speak, it's certain things that when they say it, it's like I can't not do it because I don't want that smoke. I don't want none of them problems, man. So it's certain things how the channel came about that way from the ancestors, and then even this everyday Ashe show thing came about. They're like, yeah, you need to do this. Okay, let's get it. So here we are, family. But nah, I definitely appreciate y'all. I appreciate you too, Soul Reasons MK. Love, appreciate tonight's talk. Sometimes things are the best ones when hey, I like that. Yeah. And what's funny about it wasn't even supposed to be a freestyle. I had a whole bunch of notes in a script, but I always been the type of people I like to talk to the people, man. I love like the energy exchange. Like even when I do real life events, like I love them way better because you really can feel the energy exchange. And I don't know if I ever had any event that after I did whatever, you know, the people brought me in to speak on or teach whatever they like. I want to get to the Q&A. I want to get to, you know what I'm saying? I want to get the vibing with the crowd and with the audience because that's where I feel at home, you know, just chopping it up. And so I love that part. So yeah, definitely, family. We're gonna be doing this a lot more often. So you got my word on that. I don't know how many, you know, lives there'll be, but there'll definitely be some. But there'll definitely be some recorded ones too. So I appreciate you, and I appreciate all the love and support. So yeah, we'll see y'all on the next episode, family. We are out. Odabu. Peace.
ẹni tó gbàgbé ilé sàpò ìyàgbọ́ tẹ́ǹtì ẹni takísà ní tàtàn ò bá padà sílé anítìjàkọ ẹja lọ pé eégún mo ṣe nígbẹ́rẹ́ ìpàkọ́ forsake not your ancestors embrace your